3 weeks after my daughter's wedding, the photographer called me and whispered, "Sir, I noticed something terrible in the photos. Come immediately alone and don't say anything to your daughter." My name is Curtis Thompson. I'm 58 years old and I own 3 hardware stores across the Phoenix metro area. I just finished my morning coffee when that call came in. Tuesday morning quiet house, inventory reports spread across my kitchen table. The kind of peaceful moment I'd earned after building my business from nothing over 25 years. I almost didn't answer the unknown number. "Mr. Thompson." The woman's voice was shaking. "This is Heather Brooks. I photographed Stephanie's wedding last month. I need to see you immediately. Alone. Please don't tell your daughter." My grip tightened on the phone. "What's wrong?" "I can't explain over the phone, but I found something in the photographs. Something very serious." The air in my kitchen suddenly felt heavy. "What kind of something?" "Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., my studio downtown. Please, Mr. Thompson, come alone." Before I could respond, Lisa's voice exploded from upstairs. "Dad, I told you 3 times already, I need that car money. My Honda is embarrassing. You promised you'd think about it today." Shane's laugh rumbled from my living room, some game show blaring beneath it. "I'll be there," I said into the phone, barely hearing my own voice. "Thank you, I'm so sorry, Mr. Thompson. I really am." She hung up. I sat motionless at my table, phone still pressed to my ear, staring at the framed photo on my counter. Stephanie in her wedding dress, radiant. Bradley beside her in his tuxedo. 1 month ago, $45,000 I'd spent on that day. Worth every penny to see my eldest daughter happy. Something very serious in the photographs. "Dad." Lisa appeared in my doorway, phone in one hand, car keys in the other. "Did you hear me? I need money for a new car. The Honda is 8 years old, and it's humiliating." I looked at my youngest daughter, 29 years old, living in my house for 3 years now. Temporarily, she'd said when she moved in after her breakup. Shane had followed 6 months later. No rent, no end date, just constant requests for money. "We'll talk about it later, sweetheart." Later, her voice pitched higher. "I need to go to the dealership this week. Ashley got a new Lexus, and I can't keep showing up in that piece of junk." I turned back to my computer screen. Purchase orders for lumber, electrical supplies, hand tools. Numbers that usually made sense. Today they blurred together. "Dad, are you listening?" "Later, Lisa." She huffed and disappeared. Her footsteps stomped up the stairs. A door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. The day crawled forward like a wounded animal. I tried focusing on supplier invoices, quarterly projections, employee schedules for all 3 stores. My mind kept circling back to Heather's trembling voice. The wedding had been perfect, hadn't it? Stephanie had glowed walking down that aisle. Bradley had been attentive, charming with the guests. The ceremony at the Botanical Gardens, reception at that upscale resort overlooking Camelback Mountain. Everything elegant, tasteful, expensive. What could possibly be wrong with the photographs? Around noon, Shane wandered into my kitchen without knocking. Never knocked. Just walked in like he owned the place, like he'd been paying mortgage for 3 years instead of living here rent-free. "Hey, Curtis," he leaned against my doorframe. Arms crossed, 38 years old, no steady job, just occasional gigs playing guitar at dive bars. Living off Lisa's allowance, which meant living off me. "Lisa says you're being weird about the car thing." I didn't look up from my laptop. Sales reports from my Tempe location. Good numbers, but I couldn't focus. I said we'd discuss it later. "Yeah, but she's pretty set on it." "Maybe just give her the money, keep the peace." He grinned that lazy grin that made me want to throw him out immediately. Happy girlfriend, happy life, right? Happy girlfriend. He'd never married Lisa. 3 years together, living in my house, eating my food, using my utilities, and he couldn't be bothered to make it official. But he had opinions about how I should spend my money. I stood and walked to my window below. My pool sparkled unused in the Arizona sun. The guest house where Lisa and Shane stayed sat at the far edge of my property. Separate entrance, full kitchen, 2 bedrooms. I'd had it built 5 years ago thinking visiting grandchildren might use it someday. No grandchildren. Just Lisa and Shane treating it like their personal apartment complex. The afternoon bled into evening like spilled paint. I heated leftover pasta, ate alone at my kitchen counter while Shane occupied my living room and Lisa video called someone upstairs, her laugh piercing through the ceiling. Every sound in my own house felt like an invasion. At 7:30, my doorbell rang. Stephanie stood on my front step, perfect as always. Tailored blazer, designer jeans, that smile she'd inherited from her mother. Professional, polished, everything I'd hoped she'd become when she was little. "Hi, Daddy." She kissed my cheek and walked past me into the house. I was in the neighborhood. Thought I'd stop by. Scottsdale to my place in Paradise Valley wasn't exactly the neighborhood, but I didn't mention it. She never just stopped by without wanting something. She settled onto my couch, crossed her legs, looked around the living room like she was appraising real estate. "How are you? You look tired. Long day. Business things, supply chain issues, actually. Lumber prices still fluctuating, making it hard to give customers accurate estimates." She picked up a framed photo from my side table. Her and Lisa as children at the Grand Canyon, studied it with that calculating look she got, set it back down slightly off-center. "Bradley and I have been house hunting. We found the most incredible place in Scottsdale. 4 bedrooms, pool, mountain views. Absolutely perfect." I sat in the chair across from her, waited. With Stephanie, there was always a bottom line. "The thing is, we need to move fast. Market's competitive right now. We need help with the down payment." She smiled warmly, that practiced marketing executive smile. 40,000 Jick, you understand, right? After everything you spent on the wedding, this is just completing the picture, helping us start our life together properly. $40,000. Said like she was asking to borrow my truck for the weekend. Something in my chest tightened. That hollow feeling from earlier expanded like a cold front moving in. "Let me think about it, sweetheart." Her smile faltered just for a second. Quick flash of irritation before the mask slipped back into place. "Think about it. Dad, this is important. Bradley and I need to move fast. The sellers won't wait. I need to review some things first. Cash flow, tax implications." She stood abruptly, grabbed her purse. "Fine, but don't take too long. We can't lose this house. It's perfect for entertaining Bradley's clients." She kissed my cheek again, colder this time, perfunctory. "Love you, Daddy. Call me soon." I watched her Mercedes pull away, standing in my doorway, $40,000 delivered like I'd already agreed, like my money was her money, like my 25 years building a business was just her inheritance account. Shane's laughter echoed from the living room, sports highlights on my TV, his beer bottle sweating onto my coffee table without a coaster. I walked back inside, but something had shifted. The house felt different, or maybe I was seeing it clearly for the first time in years. The drive to downtown Phoenix took 25 minutes. Wednesday morning traffic, I-51 South, then surface streets to Heather's studio. A converted warehouse in the Arts District. Red brick building with metal stairs leading to the second floor, her name on a brass plate beside the door. I parked across the street, sat in my truck for a moment. Whatever was inside that studio, whatever Heather had found, it would explain the hollow feeling I'd carried since the wedding. I knew it would. I just didn't want to know how. The studio smelled like coffee and printer ink. Professional photographs lined the walls. Weddings, families, corporate headshots, quinceañeras. The full spectrum of Phoenix life captured and framed. Heather met me at the door, younger than I'd remembered from the wedding day. Mid-40s, maybe. Nervous hands, apologetic eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Mr. Thompson, thank you for coming." She locked the door behind me with a decisive click. "I have everything set up in the editing room." I followed her through the gallery space to a smaller room dominated by a large monitor and computer equipment. Weeding portfolios stacked on shelves. The window overlooked an alley where morning shadows stretched long and dark. "Can I get you coffee? Water? I'm fine." I wasn't fine. My palms were sweating. "Please just show me." She nodded and sat at her computer. I remained standing behind her chair, close enough to see the screen clearly. "Mr. Thompson, I almost didn't call you." I went back and forth for days. But if I were in your position, I'd want to know. Please understand, I didn't go looking for this. My throat tightened. "Show me." Her fingers moved across the keyboard with practiced efficiency, the monitor filled with images from Stephanie's wedding, the ceremony, my daughter walking down the aisle on my arm, Bradley waiting at the altar in his tuxedo, guests smiling, everything beautiful, everything perfect. "These are the standard shots," Heather said softly. "What you saw at the wedding, what everyone saw." She clicked to the next folder. 2 hours before the ceremony, I was at the venue early, testing exposures, calibrating equipment. There's a service terrace overlooking the main courtyard. I was shooting through a window, adjusting light settings for the reception photos. Another click, the image appeared on screen. My hands gripped the back of her chair until my knuckles went white. Bradley, my son-in-law, in his tuxedo, pressed against a woman with red hair, not my daughter. Kissing her, deep, passionate kiss, his hands tangled in her hair, her arms around his neck. Not a friendly embrace, not a goodbye to an old friend. Intimate, possessive, familiar. How long before the ceremony? My voice sounded far away, like someone else speaking. 2 hours before. The metadata is here. She pulled up technical data. Numbers, timestamps, GPS coordinates. I was testing exposures through a service window. I captured this by accident, but it's real. And there are multiple shots. She clicked forward, different angles. Same scene. Bradley and the red-haired woman locked together like they'd done this 1,000 times before. In one photo, the woman's hand was visible. Left hand pressed against Bradley's chest. Wedding ring, gold band with a diamond solitaire. She wasn't single. This wasn't some desperate last-minute fling. "Do you know who she is?" Heather shook her head. "I don't recognize her from the guest list. I'm so sorry, Mr. Thompson." She pulled up another image. This one showed Bradley's face clearly. No confusion in his expression, no drunken stumble, no momentary lapse of judgment, just confidence, control. A man who knew exactly what he was doing. 2 hours before marrying my daughter, I straightened slowly. My knees felt weak. The room tilted slightly, then righted itself. "Can you prove the timing?" "Absolutely." She opened another window, showed me digital fingerprints, file information, GPS coordinates matching the venue location, timestamps down to the second. "This is forensic level evidence, Mr. Thompson. It would hold up in any court." She reached into her desk drawer and pulled out a small flash drive. "Everything is here. All the photos, all the metadata, technical documentation. I made copies. I took the flash drive, closed my fist around it. Don't apologize. You did the right thing." The drive back to Paradise Valley passed in a blur. I gripped the steering wheel tight, stared at the road, but my mind was somewhere else entirely. Bradley Miller, investment banker, polished, articulate, successful. Everything I'd wanted for my daughter, kissing another woman 2 hours before their wedding. A married woman? Why marry Stephanie at all? The question circled my thoughts like a vulture. Why go through with a $45,000 ceremony? Why make those vows? Why smile in those photos? What was the point? Sleep was impossible. I sat in my home office past midnight, the flash drive on the desk beside my laptop. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those photographs. Bradley's face, confident, not guilty. Confident, I opened my laptop and pulled up the wedding budget spreadsheet, $45,000 I'd spent. Venue, catering, photographer, flowers, band, everything Stephanie had wanted, but she'd insisted on one thing specifically, cash gifts. No registry, no toasters or china patterns. "Dad, we're starting fresh, we need flexibility. Cash is more practical." I'd thought she was being mature, practical. Now I wondered what I'd actually paid for. I grabbed a legal pad and started writing numbers, dates, details that suddenly seemed wrong. The guest list had been 180 people, mostly my business associates, my friends, people who had known Stephanie since childhood, each envelope at the reception. I remembered the gift table overflowing with white envelopes. Stephanie had hired someone specifically to collect them, count them, catalog them. $35,000 in cash and checks. She'd told me the total, the week after the wedding, laughing about their good fortune. "Bradley and I are so blessed, Dad. Everyone was so generous." I wrote that number down, circled it. Then I remembered something else. My business partner from the Scottsdale store, Gary Patterson, had handed Bradley a check directly at the reception. "Welcome to the family, son. Start your life right." I'd been standing there, $5,000. Gary was wealthy, generous to people he respected. Bradley had pocketed that check and smiled. "Thank you, sir. We won't forget this. Why marry Stephanie at all?" I stared at that question on my legal pad. If Bradley had another woman, a married woman, why go through with a $45,000 ceremony? Why smile in those photos? Why take those vows, unless the vows didn't matter, unless the money did? My stomach turned cold. At 7 a.m., I showered and dressed. Business casual, khakis, polo shirt, left the house before Lisa woke up. Didn't want questions about where I was going so early. The bank opened at 9. I drove to the downtown Phoenix branch where I did my business banking. Professional territory, safe ground. The manager, Jennifer Williams, greeted me in her office. We'd worked together for 10 years. She handled my business accounts, knew my financial history. "Mr. Thompson, what brings you in this morning?" I wanted to verify a check I wrote. "Wedding gift for my daughter, $15,000. Want to make sure it cleared properly." Jennifer pulled it up on her computer. "Let me see. Yes, here it is. Joint account for Bradley and Stephanie Miller." "Joint account," I said casually, like I was just making conversation. "When did they open that?" Jennifer scrolled through the account details. "Looks like 6 months ago, February 15th. 6 months before the wedding, not years. Not when they got engaged 18 months ago. 6 months. They had opened a joint account specifically to receive wedding money. Planned it, coordinated it. They must have moved fast on wedding planning," I said, keeping my voice light. "Young people these days," Jennifer smiled. "Everything happens quickly now. Digital banking makes it so easy to set up accounts." I thanked her and left. In my truck, I sat with the engine running. February 15th. They had opened a joint account specifically to receive wedding money. This wasn't romance, this was logistics. I drove home through late morning traffic, mind churning. The house looked quiet when I pulled into the garage. Shane's car was there. Old Camry with a dented bumper he refused to fix. Always asking for money to repair it, never following through. I entered through the garage door to the kitchen, planned to go straight to my office, lock the door, figure out what to do next. Then I heard Lisa's voice from upstairs. Yeah, Dad looks suspicious lately. Her voice carried down from the second floor landing. Phone conversation, volume too loud, the way she always talked. I don't know, different somehow. But don't worry, Steph. Shane and I can stretch this another 6 months easy. By then he'll cave and buy us that condo just to get rid of us. I froze in the hallway, 1 foot on the bottom step. Stephanie's voice came through the phone speaker. Lisa had it on high volume, laughing. Perfect, I've got 2 more months of playing happy wife. Then I file. Half those gifts are legally mine in Arizona. Bradley already agreed to 60-40 split. Easiest $17,500 I ever made. My hand found the wall, steadied myself. The numbers hit me like physical blows. Lisa laughed. And Bradley's little girlfriend doesn't even know about the plan. This is perfect. Dad's so busy feeling proud of your marriage, he doesn't see anything. Keep him distracted, Stephanie said. Make him think you need something big. That way when I ask for the house down payment, it won't seem excessive by comparison. Already on it. Asked him for a new car yesterday. He looked annoyed, but he'll come around, he always does. I backed away from the stairs, silent, careful. Each step measured until I reached my office. Closed the door, leaned against it. My hands were shaking. 2 daughters, both lying, both using me, one planning divorce to steal wedding money. The other squatting in my house, running out the clock until I bought them off, playing happy wife. Easiest $17,500 I ever made. I sat down at my computer, typed property lawyer, Phoenix, Arizona. Dalton McKenzie's name appeared 3rd in the search results. 25 years experience, real estate law, family trusts, asset protection. His office had an opening that afternoon at 2 p.m. I made the appointment. McKenzie's office was in a glass building downtown, 18th floor. I arrived 10 minutes early with my manila folder organized like a business proposal. Waiting spreadsheet, flash drive from Heather. My notes from the overheard phone conversation, 3 pages of timelines, quotes, dollar amounts, evidence. His office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Phoenix, mahogany desk, law books lining one wall, diplomas and bar certificates in frames. Mr. Thompson, please have a seat. Tell me what's happening. I placed my folder on his desk, opened it methodically. A month ago, I paid for my daughter's wedding. $45,000. Yesterday, the photographer showed me pictures of my son-in-law with another woman 2 hours before the ceremony. This morning, I discovered my daughters planned this. The marriage was a scam to collect cash gifts and split them. Mackenzie's pen paused over his legal pad. You have evidence both parties intended to divorce from the beginning. I overheard my younger daughter on the phone. Quote, 2 more months and I file for divorce. Half the gifts are legally mine. Bradley already agreed to 60-40 split. Easiest $17,500 I ever made. Those were Stephanie's exact words. I slid the flash drive across his desk. The affair photos are here. Metadata included timestamps, GPS coordinates, everything. Mackenzie inserted the drive into his computer, clicked through files. His expression didn't change, but his jaw tightened slightly. And your younger daughter, Lisa, she's been living in my house for 3 years. Her boyfriend with her. No rent, no lease, constant money demands. Yesterday's phone call, she told Stephanie they'd stretch it another 6 months until I bought them a condo. Mackenzie made notes, circled specific details. Mr. Thompson, in Arizona property law is very clear. Your house is your property. Without a written rental agreement, you have the right to begin eviction proceedings. Standard timeline is 30 days after written notice. Something loosened in my chest. They can't fight this. Not successfully. Without a lease, they're essentially guests who've overstayed. Arizona law protects property owners. What about the rest? My assets, my business. I don't want them getting anything when I'm gone. They've made it clear I'm just a resource to them. Mackenzie pulled a thick book from his shelf. That's where an irrevocable trust becomes valuable. We transfer your assets into trust management. You maintain control during your lifetime, but after death, distribution follows your instructions. Much harder to challenge than a simple will. How soon can we start? Mackenzie smiled slightly. Today, my fees for eviction notices, trust creation, and complete asset protection will be $8,500. I'd spent $45,000 on a fake wedding, another $35,000 collected by my daughter and her accomplice husband. $8,500 yet is acceptable. 2 days later, the envelopes arrived. Mackenzie's return address, heavy paper, official seals. I set them on my kitchen table and looked at them until evening. I could hear Lisa and Shane in the living room. Shane's voice carried, excited, animated. Another scheme, another ask. And craft breweries are huge right now, Shane was saying. Phoenix market is perfect. We'd need about $30,000 to start. Curtis would see returns in a year, easy. Lisa laughed. He'll do it. He always does. Just frame it as helping family, and he'll write the check. I picked up the envelopes and walked into the room. They looked up, smiling, expecting nothing. I placed the envelopes on the coffee table between them. What's this? Lisa picked up hers, puzzled. Dad, we're talking about Shane's brewery idea. Official eviction notice. You have 30 days to find other housing. The words landed like stones in still water. Lisa tore open her envelope, read the heading, her face drained of color. Shane grabbed his, scanned it. Have you lost your mind? This is our home. This is my house. You can't just kick us out like we're strangers. Lisa's voice cracked. Dad, what are you doing? I'm your daughter. You haven't paid rent in 3 years. You see me as a wallet, time to grow up. Shane stepped toward me, fists clenched. Everyone will know what kind of father you are. The notice is legal. 30 days. I walked to my office, closed the door. Behind me, chaos erupted. The 30th day arrived. I pulled into my driveway at 10 a.m. The sheriff's vehicle arrived 30 seconds behind me. Mackenzie's car followed. Deputy Troy Martinez stepped out. Mid-40s, experienced professional, Mr. Thompson. Let's get this done. We walked to my front door. I knocked, 3 firm knocks. Go away. You can't do this. Shane's voice muffled. Martinez stepped forward. Sir, this is Deputy Martinez with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. I'm here to enforce a legal eviction order. Open the door now. The door cracked open. Lisa's face appeared. Red eyes, defiant expression masking panic. Martinez pushed the door wider, entered professionally. The living room looked like a disaster zone. No packed boxes, nothing ready. You have 2 hours to collect personal belongings. Clock starts now. What followed was chaos in slow motion. Lisa frantically stuffing clothes into garbage bags, crying, Shane throwing things into a duffel bag with aggressive movements, muttering curses. 2 hours later, they carried the last bags to their car. At the car, Lisa turned for one final attempt. You'll regret this. When you're alone and need help, don't come crying to us. I met her eyes, calm, certain, I won't. They drove away. I stood in my doorway, my house, truly mine. That evening, Stephanie called. I almost didn't answer. I hope you're satisfied. You destroyed this family. I didn't destroy the family, Stephanie. I stopped letting it destroy me. You've changed. I don't even know who you are anymore. I'm the same person. I just stopped pretending I didn't notice being used. She hung up. 3 months later, it's late August. I sit on my terrace with morning coffee, watching the sun climb over Paradise Valley. Quiet, completely quiet, except for birds and the distant hum of the city below. Lisa has called twice. I let both go to voicemail. She and Shane found a cheap apartment. Shane got a steady job at a music store. They're figuring it out without my money. Stephanie divorced Bradley as planned. The court sorted through their wedding gift situation. Both lost money to lawyers. They'd schemed to collect cash, ended up spending it on legal fees to divide what remained. The trust documents are filed, all secured. My hardware stores are thriving. I hired a general manager for the day-to-day operations, giving me time for other things. Friday, I volunteer at the senior center doing repairs. Wednesday, I take guitar lessons. I'd always wanted to learn. There was time now. Yesterday, Heather called. Mr. Thompson, I hope you don't mind me calling. I've been thinking about you, wondering how things turned out. Things are good, Heather. For the first time in years, things are truly good. I'm so glad. You deserve peace. I surprised myself. Would you like to get coffee sometime? I'd like to thank you properly. I'd like that very much. How about next week? Next week sounds perfect. Coffee with someone who doesn't want anything except conversation. Guitar music for my own enjoyment. Repairs done because I choose to help, not because someone demands it. A business that runs itself because I built it right. They thought I'd destroyed the family. They were wrong. I'd chosen myself over their version of love that looked suspiciously like theft. I'd chosen peace over obligation. Truth over comfortable lies. Justice wasn't revenge, it was protection, it was boundaries, it was saying no when no was the only sane answer. I'd saved myself. And at 58, starting fresh felt like the best investment I'd ever made. I learned that saying no to family isn't cruel, it's survival. And sometimes the greatest gift you can give your children is showing them that their father isn't a fool.